October, November of the year before, things just started changing. Really strange things started happening. Company had made more money each year, and then all of a sudden, I'm having employee issues. We stopped making money. Like 8 out of 9 clients are they're not going to use an outside firm all of a sudden. And my wife at the time told me that it was over. And I earnestly sought the Lord and prayed. And on the third night, he answered me and said, "Do you really want to know?" I said, "Yeah, I want to know." And he put a mirror in front of me and showed me all my pride, all of my judgment, my lack, and really I could see myself through other people's eyes, and it really horrified me.
Hi, I'm Batia, and welcome back to Allow Yourself podcast. Today we have a very interesting guest, Darwin Shurig, a businessman, speaker, and philanthropist who turned personal crisis into purpose. With a background in healthcare and entrepreneurship, Darwin now focuses on emotional healing, holistic wellness, and conscious leadership. His mission extends globally, supporting clinics in Africa, education in the Dominican Republic, and healing programs in the US. Let's welcome a man who leads with heart and action. Hi, Darwin.
Hello,
Welcome.
thank you so much. It's such a blessing to be here with you. I appreciate it.
I will start. When you listen the word allow yourself, what comes to your mind?
Allow yourself. I think first of all, grace. Allow yourself grace. That was the first word when you asked me that came to mind. I think so often we're so hard on ourselves and how we speak to ourselves, those thoughts in our heads. And so, allow yourself to be curious, to give yourself grace, first of all, give others grace, but allow yourself, one of my power words, if you will, is curiosity. Allow yourself to be curious, because if we know everything, whatever the topic is, we can't learn. And so the more curious we are, the more open we are to, I think, blessings and miracles as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, it's like coming back to our childhood, right? To start being
Yeah.
curious and open our minds with that. And you know that people usually look for the answers outside and are pursuing everything to when I'll be this, I will be happy. When I'll be this, when I get to my house, when I get this business, we keep chasing things out, and we think that our solutions are out there, and really our solutions are inside. So, one of my questions is what mindset or what idea did you allow yourself to change in order to be the leader you're today?
That is a great question. There's so many beautiful golden nuggets, really, from my perspective, in what you just said. And you mentioned childlike, and Jesus tells us multiple times that we need to have a childlike curiosity, a childlike heart. He also talks about mind heart coherence and being in the heart all throughout Scripture. And so I think that is so vitally important. And secondly, you talked about looking for things on the outside, and most of my life, I think people from the outside looking in would perceive as success, but I was always coming from a place of lack and therefore force, and trying to figure out and find things that would validate this hole that was inside of me. If I could, get another degree, if I could make more money, if I could do this. We just got to the top of the mountain. Now let's leave. Okay, we're here. What's next? It was always, and also trying to find validation in other people in a relationship, not understanding where my value came from the Lord, and really not understanding my purpose because of that. And by understanding that and going to Him, then going to the inside and changing how I looked at things, starting the day out in terms of meditation, in prayer, in scripture, embodiment breathing, really starting with cleaning out some things. First of all, cleaning out some traumas, cleaning out some areas of things that didn't belong there, and things that really didn't need to go with the journey. And then understanding that I don't need anything from, as you stated, I don't need anything. I don't need anybody to validate me. I know where my value comes from. I know what my purpose is. And I was always seeking love. Really, if I could be good enough, if I could, whether it was an half Ironman or basketball or business, whatever it was, to try to be enough. If I could just be enough, then maybe I'd be loved. And the truth of the matter is, we're all enough. We were all made special in his image. And by giving, we give whatever we get. In Blessing All God's Children, the Charitable Foundation, the scripture is Luke 6:38. What you give, you will receive. Pressed down, shaken, overflowing. It will be poured out into your lap. By the measure with which you measure, you will be measured. And so what I didn't understand, which I feel like I clearly do now, is we give we're going to get back what we give. And so by giving love freely, I'm getting everything I ever wanted. And to your point, I didn't need to go get that from anywhere outside, because it was already there
Yeah.
through what God put
Just
there.
tell us, to your audience and my audience, how people see you before. What was success for you before you did this change? Where are
Mm.
you coming from? That you were an amazing entrepreneur, uh, very successful. What that successful before meant? What was success for you before?
Oh, that's a great question. So in every step, going to college and getting degrees, or for me, playing college basketball, I always loved basketball, and it was just something that I had to do. However, I think too much of it was not about really the joy of it, and what that was. And then getting into corporate America and being in commercial leadership roles, it's about winning awards or being successful, making enough money, starting a business. And it's like 2 years in a row. I think you and I talked about this earlier. Less than 10% of companies historically bill over $1 million in revenue, and I had the ability to do that 2 years in a row. And from my efforts, the company actually made more money than that. And yet I still wasn't. I still didn't feel worthy. I still didn't. So trying to get things that on the outside I think people would deem successful, yet I was probably, I would say, difficult to be around sometimes, and just everything was always 100 miles per hour. And
Wow,
so,
fast.
right.
Hmm.
And I always say the enemy loves chaos, and the Lord he's specific, he's calm, he's perfection. And so just being able to, I was gauging, what I would say is I was gauging my success based on the secular world, the outside world, based on gathering items, which there's no fulfillment in another item, whether it be a car, another stock, or it's
Another house, another
right.
apartment. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes, and even like, okay, another vacation, and okay, go to another place, if we see another place, which I love. I've been blessed to travel to many countries. I've been to every state in the US. I love meeting people, cultures. However, it doesn't matter. There's nothing that's going to fill up. There's no object, there's no item. You look at interviews with people that have won the Super Bowl or the NBA. There's all these different examples. You could go back if a viewer wanted to research it, and they're like, I thought it'd be more. I spent all this time. They practice, right? All of it, and it's over with like that. It's like, wait, what? So that is, it's about what we do. My perspective is it's about what we do, how we give love, how we bless one another, the things we do for each other. And oh my, the power just went off. The Lord liked what that had. Somebody liked what that had to say. I think God liked that comment. But I think it's all about how we give love, and and we're going to get back what we give. And there's a book that I read, one of my best friends, Brad Glazer, gave me almost 15 years ago. And his charity, he's got a therapeutic horseback riding charity. It was the second charity that my business started to support. He gave me a book called You Can't Outgive God. And that really started kind of watered the seeds that kind of started back then the journey. And I just think it's so true.
When was your breaking point? When was that time when you flipped? What happened to you? Is you were very successful. You had a lot of money. You had a lot of properties. You had
Yeah.
everything you wanted. You traveled around the world, and what? And you still felt empty, right? That something was missing. So, what was that turning point in your life that you said, "Now what?"
Yes. So May of 2023, and I would say in October, November of the year before, things just started changing. Really strange things started happening that I could not explain, that made no sense. And the company started, oh, the lights are back. Wait, what happened? Oh, there we go. um, Things just started happening that just didn't make any sense, were crazy. And the company had made more money each year. And then all of a sudden, I'm having issues, employee issues. We stopped making money. Like 8 out of 9 clients they're not going to use an outside firm. All of a sudden, the economy goes off a cliff. All these things are hitting, and my level of consciousness, unfortunately, was definitely not very high. I'm stressing. I'm working extra hours. And then I'd been married 17 years at the time. And my wife at the time told me that it was over on vacation, actually. Told me that it was over. There wasn't going to be no counseling, no conversation. And I was floored. I did not see that coming. In hindsight, there were a lot of signs that I should have kind of understood, but my consciousness wasn't very high, and I was gut punched and heartbroken. And for 3 nights, I really got on my knees I don't think I'd ever prayed more than 2 minutes in my life. And I earnestly sought the Lord and prayed. And on the third night, he answered me and said, "Do you really want to know?" I said, "Yeah, I want to know." And he put a mirror in front of me and showed me all my pride, all of my judgment, my lack, and really I could see myself through other people's eyes, and it really horrified me. And so that's when I say, my perspective and it says in scripture, getting eyes to see and ears to hear, that I was given that. And then I had a choice to make. And so from that point forward, I just had to figure out some things. And I didn't want to be resentful. I didn't want to be drinking or, you know, with another person or trying to figure out what I'd done my whole life, try to find something in somebody else or something or some activity to fill the hole. And it started me on this beautiful journey. And on the back of the book of the Modern Day Joe book, it says, "What if the worst thing that ever happened to you was the best thing that ever happened to you?" And through seeking, I was on medicines. I went all organic. I started cold plunging. I started breathing exercise. I started meditation. I never meditated a day in my life. And now it's more important than anything else to start my day. I got off the medications I was on in about 90 days. Just so many blessings. I was wearing eyeglasses for 2 years. In September of 2023, 6 weeks after that, I self-healed from needing reading glasses. I've had needed reading glasses since then. So it's just been a really, that very difficult, traumatic time has turned into just the biggest blessing ever.
It's very interesting because if I understand what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you allowed yourself to see everything and pause because you were saying that you were in 100 kilometers per hour, and then you couldn't even think. You were doing, trying to reach here, trying to fix. Even when the company was going down, then you start doing more and working more
Yeah,
instead of, and you had to have that shock in order to, hello, pause. Okay,
right.
just pause, listen to your inner voice, just listen, listen to you. And um, it has happened to a lot of entrepreneurs that are in this world of I have to be successful, that's how people expect of me, or really is
Yeah.
what I expect of me. And don't allow ourselves to pause even a second. It's doing, and we forget about being. We just do. And
Yes.
what I'm listening from you is that you suddenly realize that there are two different things, what I do and who I am. So I allow myself to listen to who I am and not what I'm doing, so I can figure out what do I want myself to become. Even if I keep doing, but doing through what I want to become. Is that correct? Did I listen correctly?
I think in sort of a, non-spiritual, psychological standpoint, I think that's a decent description. At the end of the day, we were made by a creator. We're going to worship something.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very, I don't push. I got the opportunity to share with you how many different people I've gotten the opportunity to pray with that don't share the same faith, don't share the same beliefs.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I stand very clearly in terms of the great I am and my Savior Jesus Christ, and what started me on this journey and the healing and all the miracles that I've seen. But I believe we were made in the image of a creator. We are going to worship something, and whether that is, and so many things show. And you just mentioned something that made me think about Tony Robbins. And one of the conferences I was at with him, he talks about all of these billionaires and all of these people that he's interacted with. And he's like, there's a big chunk of them, a vast majority that are miserable. They are wealthy. He said, in general, not quoting him, but in general, he said there's very few that are actually happy. He said you have to be very careful and intentional on what you want in life, because you could get what you want and then be miserable, and that is not success. And so I think from that standpoint, you can look at Hollywood, you can look at politics, relevant to things people go after for power, for things that they want, who are miserable, and they're
Yeah, they end in drugs and in addictions and in
lots of
alcohol.
Divorces. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, they just
is that
destroy themselves.
emptiness.
So,
I agree with you. You open your heart, you open your space to listen to yourself and to God's voice. Call it God, call it the universe, call it as you want to call it for people that don't believe. I am very spiritual too. So, when it happened to me, I was telling you that the name I put it is that God put me in my knees. So I had
yes.
to surrender to say, now what? And in the now what, when I open that space is when then really miracles start happening. I mean, everything like starts following into place, like the right people start coming in, like you get love from somebody that you not expected, then money comes in very unexpected ways that you don't even plan, and the businesses um, are more purposeful in not just money chasing,
Right.
because we are so trained and so educated that to be successful you have to have a lot of money. And
Right.
as you say, and I have seen, and you have seen, and Tony Robbins says that they are so poor that they have only money, like some people say they're so poor they have some only money, because what for? That's the question. What
Ex-
for?
Exactly. What are you gonna do with it? Because money is a tool.
Yeah.
It doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
you happy. We're building a clinic in Monrovia, Liberia, where, think about this. Like, for the entire cost of the clinic for a two-story, it's not a Taj Mahal. The clinic that has been there previously, it's sad. It's not a good thing relevant to if a woman gives birth there. But it works. And we're building a two-story building. The total cost of it is like $40,000 US. That's remarkable. And in terms of, I have a really hard time going into palaces. I've been to Buckingham, I've been to Austria, I've been to one in Italy, right? And Versailles. And particularly when I went to Versailles, I was just kind of disgusted, because I was picturing, the gold and all of this, and then these people starving at the time. And so I've had a couple opportunities to go to palaces since, and I'm like, I have no interest in going to palace. But being in the United States, and you see an enormous home, and there's a few people living there, and I'm not certainly I'm not anti-success or uh,
No, you need money in order to give.
right.
If you don't have money, you don't give.
Somebody has to
Yes,
build the orphanage. Somebody has to feed people. Somebody has to
exactly.
build a school. So I'm just saying that in terms of going on a mission trip, anybody that hasn't been on a mission trip, anybody that hasn't been out of a area to go to a place that where they have, because if you make $50,000, you're richer than 85% of the world. So if you go someplace where people really don't have much, it'll and you do something for them, it will change your heart
They are
because
not in Facebook. That's the problem. They're not in Facebook, not in Instagram, not in
right. Oh
social
no,
media.
no, they don't have
So
that
you
kind
don't
of thing.
see that. You only see you. ah, that's that illusion that you compare to yourself to only that 1 or 2% of the population in the world. That
Yes.
we are included, right, in 1 or 2% of the world. But we don't want or we don't allow ourselves to look to the side or to look down because what it makes you feel, no, I want to be there. But you will be so much grateful in life to
Yeah.
appreciate where you are, what you have achieved. And I keep telling in my customers is that you get healed when you heal. Okay? You heal healing. You learn teaching.
Yeah.
It's when you give, you receive. Uh, it's
Yes, you just said it. When you give, you receive. And it says it. There's over At this point, I keep track of them. I've read the Bible 3 times since August 2023, all the way through, and I've read other books multiple times, but I keep track of different scripture. But it's over 40 scriptures I have at this point, like what we give, we're going to receive, whether it's bad things or whether it's beautiful things. And so it's like by giving to others, it's like you get so much more back. And in here, in your heart. And
that's what I wanted to say. Not just
yeah,
only give money or presents or material things.
right.
A nice word. You don't know what a nice word can change
Yes.
a person in the right moment. You don't know
Right.
what, and we are so trained. I don't know, to criticize and to judge
Yeah.
others that we don't allow ourselves to praise and to see and to say a nice word to other people.
Right.
Just I have that habit in my house with my kids when they were teenagers. I have 2 girls. Is like you cannot say anything bad about somebody if you don't say something good before.
Mm.
So it's, oh, but that person has nothing good for me to say. So you don't have any bad thing to say either. So that was like a training in the mindset. And it's so hard now with the social media because they teach us so fake things that we can praise, yes, but let's praise it. Let's say good things, not judge, not criticize. Just see the good side. So
Well,
now
I
that
think, sorry, I was just gonna say, like social media, there's just so much, from my perspective, more negativity than there is positivity. First of all, people say things and do things in a reactionary way. They react instead of respond, and they'll say things, type or text that they would never say to somebody's face. And so it's creating a sense of competition. And look at me as people post their food and their vacation, and they're posting what the perception is of this perfect thing in their life. And the truth of that is a lot of what's getting posted, the other side of what you're not seeing, you don't know what that is. And everybody has things that they feel inadequate about or they're afraid of. And so it's just kind of a little bit of a fake world that is in a sense a little bit narcissistic too. It's a little bit self-absorbed. And so getting away from that and getting real with people, I think that's why our testimony is so important, because
Yeah,
there are people that need to hear stories to go, you know what? I've been so grateful. I did not want to write the book at first at all. I did not want to share my previous issues and my challenges. And there were certain aspects of the story that I thought people are going to think I'm nuts. However, almost every single day, I get people texting, messaging me, telling me how grateful they are, and that, gosh, I just had somebody that one of my best friends from college, I haven't seen his sister in forever, and she sent me a message. They call me Dar. So she's like, Dar, I'm had a picture of the book. I'm halfway through it. Thank you for your for being brave and sharing, because I've had all these issues this last 10 years, and there's so much about this is resonating me. And that's the whole point, is to share that hopefully some of the things that I was blessed with could help other people, whether that's a embodiment breathing, or whether that's, you know
Mhm.
what, over 1,000 chemicals in the food in the United States. There's something wrong here. What? No, like maybe I should eat differently. I could get off this medicine. I don't need to be on this medicine. Or whether it's meditation or a curiosity of who their creator is, because maybe religions hurt them, or there's things that they don't understand, that maybe that makes them a little more curious, and whatever it is that they could get from it that is a blessing, then it's worth it.
Yes, and now that you're saying how people come back after you are courage in the way that you, I call it overcome shame, because that's the, I think that's the first feeling that you, that I at least felt
Mm,
after I losing everything, is like shame. I'm a loser.
yes.
I have nothing, right? Is
Yeah.
that shame, how people will say that I'm good for nothing, that I'm a loser, and it's
And
exactly
and
at that.
guilt too. When
And
it comes
here,
to your family and things, guilt too.
oof, and guilt, a lot of guilt. What did I do? What the decisions I made? Why I didn't listen to what people were telling me, right? But it's like when we allow ourselves to switch, we think we are nuts, but
Oh yeah.
right,
Oh,
but
the first 6 months, I thought I'd lost my mind more than once.
yeah, but it's when we really, you know, somebody told me, that only nuts change the world.
Wow. I
so,
love, well, you
so
think
that's
about,
true.
faith is the belief in the scripture, faith is the belief in things unseen. And there's all this different things around that. But if you think about it, there is nothing in the world that has been created without faith enough to have creativity to do it, or nothing would unique would
Yeah,
ever be done.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I
You know
think it's
that I
great.
have I have a very close familiar sibling, no sibling, he's a son-in-law that went through a diagnosis that it was terrible. And I said, "Oh, don't believe it. Miracles happen. So just
They
stay with
do.
miracle happen. And you're going to heal. And a couple of years after, you heal. That's it. I went through it. My husband went through it. Yeah, it's that nuts part that we have the faith to believe that we can change and we can pray, and
Yes.
this unseen force that there are people that, if I don't see it, I don't believe it. So I said, how do you turn on your TV with your remote control? You don't see the wire that is turning
Well,
on your TV.
so
So
here's what I would say to that. We're supposed to be the smartest we've ever been, the most technology we've ever been. And one could argue we're the sickest we've ever been. And in terms of where focus goes, energy flows. And everything is energy. And if you take a cell from the nucleus to the membrane, it's 99.9% space. Or the water is the medium, but everything is electrical, everything's energy. So when it comes to waveforms, we cannot see 95% of the waveforms, the energy, gamma, it doesn't matter what the waveform is. And in uniform waveforms, there's information. So we cannot see 90% of what's going on around us with the eye, which should tell us
yeah,
something. Secondly, if you and I were in the woods next to the alpha male of a wolf pack, which probably wouldn't be the best thing in the world, but if we were and he was nice and left us alone and he howled, we would not be able, our ears would not be able to hear it, but every wolf within 4 miles would come running. So I always say, people, they'll tell me, well, if I talk to them or they say I'm not religious. I said, that's okay. God did not create religion, which
Hmm.
kind of gives a
Yeah.
pause. And we are in a spirit. This is a spiritual battle. Look around at all the things that are going on that are unexplainable. And so understanding that we only have so much energy, and if we focus on negative things, uh, epigenetics are real. You you see clinical trials, women that have a gene for breast cancer, but it's recessed. They don't have the symptoms. See somebody that has cancer and they get cured of it, and they're out of the environment that caused it. If they go back in the environment, it can bring it back. It can activate that cell. So we only have so much energy, and if we're focused on all these, if I look at myself, I was constantly using the energy of my body to look at the things of the past, unworthiness, and fear the future. And it literally starts making us sicker. And as I was going through this, my heart starts I have this problem. And by stopping that and cleaning out things from the past, so I'm not thinking about those things anymore, I'm not worried about the future, then I had enough energy internally to heal myself, and some tools and things of that nature. But I mean, my blood pressure was 160 over like 110 when they put me on blood pressure medicine in February 2023. And by August 2023, I'm not on any meds. My blood pressure is beautiful because I'm controlling where my focus goes. And I'm doing breathing, I'm exercises, I'm meditating, I'm cold plunging, I'm eating healthier. Now all of a sudden that stuff's out of my body and my focus is in a place of beauty, of healing. And so everything's energy. So even if
And what
somebody,
happens to the business? Because before, all your energy was focused on the business, on getting, doing, doing,
right,
doing. Once and it's co- uh, it's hard to believe that when you allow yourself to flip it and
yes,
focus on the priority is you and your belief system and your center and your core, how everything gets into place, how
yes,
the business starts coming, what's the
right.
miracles in business, in health, in friendship. Um, you have to really live it in order to believe it. I know, but I, I'm in the same place like you, so it's. I can understand what you're saying. But probably some of our audience says, "Oh, they're nuts." Yes, yes, we're
It's
nuts.
okay. Don't take anything I say. Don't take
Just
anything I say for sure. Test it.
exactly
Be
test it,
curious.
and
Go
you'll
look.
see.
And that's one of the things I love about how the Modern Day Joe book lays out, because there are a lot of other books in it. And I had one lady, she's like, I'm getting this book, I'm getting that book. One of my buddies was like, I'm halfway through the book and I just ordered this book, because I take all this information from other books and I bring it into it. And David Hawkins,
Exactly.
I love David Hawkins' work. I was actually on a flight with reading glasses on my face coming back September 2023 from Barcelona from a medical conference. And his last chapter of Letting Go is about self-healing. He self-healed from cancer, all these different things. I'm like, what? And then he's talking about a student of his. He's passed away now, but really he's the person that figured out muscle testing. And he had a student that said, Dr. Hawkins, like, Professor, why are you wearing glasses? And he was like, well, because I have glaucoma. I've worn glasses for 30 years. I'm almost blind in this eye. And that student's like, but you healed from all this other stuff. Why isn't it the same thing? And Hawkins was like, I never thought of it. I've worn these glasses. And he takes the glasses off, and like in 6 weeks, he self heals from needing glasses. And I took my glasses and threw them under the seat. I'm like, I could have went, well, that's impossible. Like I've been wearing. No, I said, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. So yeah, it is the opportunity to be curious, to look at things a little bit differently, and who knows and so I would just say, yeah, test it, look at it. His around muscle testing and levels of consciousness. And if you think about it, relevant to energy and the things that we're talking about, and okay, well, I was always told prayer's real, prayer, and I was like, okay, that really I didn't understand any of that. I looked at it like, well, okay, if God's real and the kids are getting into it and or they're being rambunctious, like, and you're a parent, if you're if you're trying to get attention, you're probably going to get attention. Maybe that's kind of how I looked at it. But if you look at energy and levels of consciousness, somebody at a level 400 on the scale, on Hawkins scale of conscious, counteracts 800,000 negative people. So, and and you can go read his book, all the data. You can, it muscle testing works. It's so if that's true, well, heck yeah, prayer works because according to his data, 75% of the world lives in lower level emotions, guilt, shame, fear, which is why we have all this violence and all these horrible things. And I could get into other supernatural things of why I think that's the case, but so they don't think we're too crazy, we'll just stick with this. But if that's the case, then when people are praying, they're praying about positive things, praying for healing, praying for positive things for their family, their loved ones, then that would make a lot of sense, just like negative energy. And if you think about this from a personal standpoint, as somebody doesn't want us to talk about this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So if you think about your personal self, the light's back on. Okay. If you think about it from a personal
They're
standpoint,
illuminating you. That's it. Just
they
to
are,
make there is no
it's
light
back.
without, yes, there is no light without darkness. So it's good.
Exactly. But
Yes.
I'm telling you, I've lived this. It's absolutely true because once you have a different energy and a different focus, angry people attract angry people, sad people attract, you will attract different people. And you spoke to it earlier. Things start coming into places. The people and the things that are coming in my life that are just, that the Lord is just laying out, you will attract different people. You will actually, your positivity will make negative people like literally walk around you. I've seen
and
it. It's wild.
and leave you, and people that are toxic in your life, they will leave you because they cannot
Yes.
tolerate your shining and your light, because you're really connecting with your energy, and that's what you're transmitting. So that is so true and so beautiful. And now, Darwin, that you are so light and so giving and so uh, yes, you can, anybody
I
can see
received
it,
that. I
and
received
anybody
that.
can see it. There is you can feel it.
Thank you. I
um
received that.
what boundaries did you have to set on place in order to protect yourself?
That's a really good question. I've had two people in the last week literally ask me because there's a lot of things going on and they're like, who's covering you? Who's praying for you? Because I'm kind of kicking up, I'm kind of kicking up dust and uh, certain things are happening in certain places. But from a boundary standpoint, first and foremost, in terms of what's important to me and what how my day, where I give my focus is very important. I've always loved outdoors. I've always loved working out. However, my time mentally, starting my day with embodiment breathing, with scripture, um, breathing exercises, that if I could only work out or take care of my meditation, my mind, that is first and foremost. And how I speak to myself, I used to speak so awful to myself.
Oh, how important that is! The words that you use create the life you live.
Absolutely, because Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and he who loves her will eat of her fruit. There's all this scripture around, like what we speak, we will, like, right?
Attract. Hmm.
I always say God did not create the word I can't. He did not create that word. And so I
Or I
started out,
should.
yeah, I start out with very specific, I'm outstandingly worthy and blessed, and my future success is guaranteed and ordained by my creator. That is one affirmation I say to myself every day. I am faith and love. I'm courage, compassion, and curiosity. I am gratefulness and playfulness. I tell myself that every single day and what my purpose is. And so,
I want to stop you a little bit in that because that is so important.
yeah,
The definition of who I am, know what
mm,
I do. So that's your identity. When you say
yes,
I am, that's when you create your identity, and that's how you start living your life, and not in the doing that I'm an entrepreneur and whatever, basketball player or whatever you said. But that's really so important to define yourself like that. So I will ask you to repeat. I am what you
Oh,
just
I
said.
so I'll repeat my purpose to you too, because I think every company needs to have a mission and a vision. It can't be something that's written once and put in a drawer. Same way or who we are, but every day I say to myself, I am outstandingly worthy and blessed, and my future success is guaranteed and ordained by my Creator. Period. It's right. My purpose in my life, I, Darwin, see, feel, hear, and know that the purpose of my life is to have a high level of consciousness and use the gifts that God has given me to bless others and give unconditional love. That is my purpose every single day, whether I'm about to do a podcast for my business, whether I'm presenting at a conference, whether I'm about ready to help a company get their chief technology officer, whether I'm doing something blessing all of God's children, whatever it is, that is my mission. And then protecting my time, starting my day every day, first protecting my energy and my mindset, getting into a positive state right off the bat. And part of those boundaries, you asked about boundaries, is first of all how you prioritize, who you give time to, who you spend time around, and who you pour into with other being intentional. I don't watch. There's a lot of things I don't watch. I don't let into my mind. I don't listen to certain musics. I really pretty much got rid of TV 2.5 years ago. So I'm very intentional with the books I read, the things that I'm learning, and the types of people that I'm in around that I spend time around.
So what you're saying is that you change the way you feed not only your body, how you change how you feel your mind and how you feed your soul.
Yeah,
And
yes,
that and being very aware of how to feel. What are you putting in your soul? What are you putting in your mind that will
yes.
create the life? So beautiful. So the boundaries, they don't have to, right? People think about boundaries and they think they're very rude and you have to be like, no, stop here. And really, the boundaries is how to protect yourself, and the protection of
Mhm.
yourself, how you say, is in meditation, in your words you're using, in how you feed your soul and your
I,
mind.
and it's boundaries are important, relevant to who you want to be and where you want to get there. But from a relationship standpoint, I never understood. If you would have said boundaries, I would not have understood it before. You and I were talking about positive masculine, positive feminine polarity. It's so important. I didn't understand anything about that. It talks about that in the book and gives some resources around it as well. But I did not have healthy boundaries. I did not understand. I had, unfortunately, I was the book. There's a great book that I talk about in my book called The Masculine in Relationship by Youngblood. It's a great book. I think every teenage boy should read it before they graduate high school. I think females should read it too, but it should be mandatory. And I had at least probably 6 or 7 negative masculine traits that I was presenting in my that I didn't know. I didn't understand any of it. I wasn't. Here I am running this company and doing these positive things, but I'm not really leading at home because I don't understand it. And at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my emotions. If you are, we're not to. My job or any man in a relationship, it's not to be where every single whatever's going on, if it's storming, if somebody's angry, you're angry, if somebody's sad, you're sad. It's like, no, I'm responsible for my emotions, and those should not be dictated what's going on around me. I should set the tone, not let other things set the tone on who I am. And from a relationship standpoint, setting of boundaries, healthy boundaries are good for everybody. It's like, hey, I love you, I care about you, but relevant to my values and who I am, whatever that boundary is, this boundary, you're not going to cuss and swear at me, or you're not going to yell at me. That's a boundary that I'm not okay with. And if you cross that, it doesn't mean I don't love you, but for the safety of both of us, I'm removing myself from this environment. And then if you calm down and you want to talk rationally and with love and respect, then we can talk again. For example, that would just be one example. And now, from a boundary standpoint, I'm very clear about what those boundaries are. I want to give love to people. I want to pour into other people, but at the same time, you've got to protect who you are. We don't have boundaries. Things can get ugly or dicey pretty quickly as we see what's going on in the world.
um, in my generation and a couple before me, men were taught that they cannot feel is
Mm,
weakness, so
right.
they were not allowed to deal with emotions that
Yes.
women's issue. So you're not allowed to cry. It's because make others uncomfortable. Really, that's why you're not allowed to cry. But at that time, that was the training, that was the mindset that was put into men. So that's why they were so it was so hard. I
Yeah.
had to have some customers that they just come to, they're very masculine. And I was telling you that I used to work in security for almost 30 years. So I had
Right.
the entrepreneur masculine part very developed. So I can connect on that and don't allow the emotions get into the business, right?
Right.
Business is business. Leave the house in the house. Okay,
Right. Right.
that was the message, and it's so. We figure out that it's wrong. That's our strength, our emotions, and you can see today. And this what's her name? Maria Rojas Estapeda. She's a a Spanish psychiatric. That she says that she gets clients when the man is talking on his mind and the woman is talking on her heart. And is if one of the both don't change, there is no communication at all, because he says, "Oh, I feel so sad and so frustrated," and the man says, "Okay, what you need to do is this, right?"
Let me solve that for you in the mind. And
Yeah.
uh, Tony Robbins says, "Get in your head, you're dead." And mind heart coherence is so important, and to get into your heart because the mind can mess you up. There's specific scripture I love around that too. Not to be in your own mind. Trust the Lord with all your heart. On your own knowledge, do not depend on, essentially. But understanding, and it's funny because the old way, that before all of this happened, I think I might have not cried for, I mean, a year, 2 years. Like, I probably didn't cry 3 or 4 times in a couple years. And I'm here to tell you that is not good. We're supposed to renew our minds every day. Heart coherence. I mean, I cried this morning already because I got to pray with somebody earnestly who was injured. I prayed with them for 10, 15 minutes. I was in my heart, tears. There was something else this morning I was grateful for. I got tears. Like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I think
That's
not
what they're
having,
for. They're
yes,
there to use them.
yes.
Is to change your chemistry in your body. Is to get vulnerability, strength, as Brené Brown says all the time. No,
And just think about how the eye works. Is it's constantly putting fluid there. If that doesn't happen, then that's a real problem. You have to get eye drops. It's the same thing. We have to clean things out. Otherwise, they stick in there and they fester.
is there anything that with your the power of your work, because you are a very influenced person. I know you're very humble too, I know, but
Uh,
we know that you what would you tell your audience, and my audience, what would you allow yourself in this time? If you have to give them one advice, what would you say?
about like, is there a particular topic you'd want me to give them advice about, or
What it comes to your mind?
okay, whatever comes to my mind.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
what?
let's put it first in another context. What would you say your younger Darwin today? If you were a teenager, what would you tell your younger Darwin to allow himself that he didn't allow himself at that time?
So I think grace is so important. Be curious. Be grateful. You anger and fear cannot live where gratefulness and love live. So be curious, give yourself and others grace, and whatever you need to do to realize that there's a power greater than you, and that I would tell. I think, men and women are wired differently for a reason, and they're both beautiful and they need each other. And I would say, but from my perspective as a man, no, I don't think any man can be happy, will be fulfilled, unless he identifies what his purpose is and the skills that he's been given, if he doesn't use those for good, if he does not use those to bless other people, he'll never feel satisfied. And so give yourself grace, keep moving. Think about what you care about, what you love, what matters to you, and figure out how to live in that world. It's almost like the Pareto principle, right? 80% of the work gets done by 20%. So, what would happen if in our lives we flipped that scenario where we were spending instead of 80% of the results being from 20% of our efforts, if you're on that side of it, that you were spending your time in 80% of what that result looks like. Think of the beautiful things that would come from that. So
Oh, that's
that's what
beautiful.
I would share.
That's beautiful. And can you tell us about a little bit about your book, your course, what you do, so where we can
Sure.
find you?
Yes, you can. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and we're actually building. Mickey's team is building a new website that I was a little resistant to at first because of just the humility thing. It's so important to be humble. Um, but it makes sense. So we're building this new thing because of so that people can find me through a particular website that's my name, and then from there. But my company, the recruitment firm's Top Talent Accelerant, over a decade, helping companies hire for culture. 94% of our offers accepted, 53% of candidates promoted within 24 months, and then third higher retention rates. And we're actually building out a software as a service right now that will come to the market by the beginning of the year. My company will use it in medtech and biotech industry, but we'll bring it to the market that other companies can use it. It's agnostic from that standpoint, and I believe it can become the industry standard for attraction and efficiency to help companies hire for culture. Um, and then in terms of blessing all God's children, you can go again. We're going to have a website where if you put in Darwin Shurig, everything will kind of come up underneath it. Blessing All God's Children is the charitable foundation that was started last year. When we do a project, and my goal, I thought I would be doing something around children or maybe homeless vets, but what the Lord really led me to is I'm going to lift up other charities and spotlight the great things that they're doing for children and for others. And so our first project was the medical clinic in Liberia, but that's also tied to a school. And it's then tied, we have the land for an orphanage. We're going to build an orphanage. We've taken a couple girls out of sex trafficking and off the streets there. We'll put them into the orphanage and the school, and then it'll tie into the clinic so they can go over there and get training and maybe start shadowing so they're actually getting education as well. And then the Modern Day Job, that book came out a few months ago. It's listed in bestseller in a couple
It's a
different
must.
categories. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a must.
I hope so.
Yeah.
There, I hope it blesses people if they choose to go get it. There's a customized prayer at the end that you can put whatever you're going through in that hopefully gives people hope, and that there's tools from that that they'll benefit from wherever they're at in terms of their faith or their walk. And so that's kind of, I'm also on the board of a med tech company called Quality Means Business that has a really cool SaaS product that I think is really going to change the world relevant to helping companies get FDA approval safer and more efficiently. So that's kind of who I am.
Amazing. I know you don't like to talk about it, that you're so humble, but it's very important to share it with the world, because if not, they won't know where to find it and where to really learn and get all the knowledge that you really have. Um, and thank you so much, Darwin, for sharing your heart,
Oh,
especially your journey and your wisdom with us today. This conversation is a really powerful reminder that allowing yourself isn't a one time decision. It's a
yeah.
daily practice of courage,
Yes.
of grace, as you say, and self trust also.
Yes.
For everyone listening, may you give yourself permission to take up space, to rest, to begin again, and to become all that you're meant to be. Allow
Yes.
yourself to be you. You're a light in this world, and allow yourself to connect to your higher power. Call it as you want. universe, God, Jesus, Buddha, wherever. Just connect yourself and allow yourself to be. And thank you very much, Darwin. It's such a pleasure to be with you here. And just to wrap up at the end, one word that you're taking from the whole conversation today?
What she just said, you're all made special. So give yourself grace, love yourself. He loves you so much. And talk nice to yourself. It's like a baby. If the baby takes a couple steps, it's like everybody gets excited. You don't criticize the baby because they didn't take the step perfect. So give yourself grace, love yourself, and give yourself space for that because your creator loves you so much.
Thank you is such a beautiful experience and time to be here. So, see you next time.
Okay.